Okay, so in the last video, we remade the rooms in the back and we applied the script to make the camera pan back and forth. Now we're going to work on the front office and we're going to add additional control. Right now you hit the number keys 1, 2, and 3 to toggle between the rooms. What we're going to do is we're going to add 3 monitors in the office and you can just click on the monitor to get to the corresponding cameras. So let's do a little design first. I did tweak this room here in between videos. It's just kind of busy work. Just stretch out the floor a little bit, raise up the ceiling, stretch out the ceiling as well. That way you've got a little bit more space to work with, okay? So that's really all I did was I just expanded the room. Now you're going to notice 2 new objects. Up to this point, we've made everything manually. What I did is I went to the asset store and downloaded a couple images. One is a couple objects, excuse me. One is a flat screen monitor and one is a desk. Pros and cons to using the asset store is that the pro is the objects are already made and a lot of them are production quality. But the con is that they're not exclusive. That anyone else who buys that asset could indeed have the same asset in their game, in their application. So if you're looking for a unique appearance, you're not going to have it. But it's totally legitimate just to buy assets to, if it's something that you yourself cannot create. So let's put the desk in. So I'm going to drag and drop it. And then we're going to take the flat screen monitor, put that in. Slide it over. And this needs physics, and it needs a box collider, so we can click on it, and we need to set it to a trigger. Let's call this monitor 1, and it'll correspond to room 1. Copy, paste. Call this monitor 2. Slide it over. Probably won't have enough room, so I'll probably have to extend that desk a bit. Or shrink the monitors a bit. And monitor 3. And move that over. Now, rather than running the application, we can just spin this. Since we're not actually moving the camera, at least the in-game camera, this doesn't affect how the point of view will look. Call this the director's camera, if you will. Now, they technically could fit, but the problem is the collider boxes would be right on top of each other, and we don't want that. So let's just make the cabinet longer. So let's make that there we go. So it probably looks a little bit squat, but again, this is just as a tutorial. It's not meant to be production quality at this point. Okay, let's go ahead and run that. There we go. So now we have our 3 monitors, which are all primed to be clickable, but they're not quite yet because they need a script. So we've got a couple ways we can do this. The GM object already is aware of all the cameras, and so if we could simply, when we click on the monitor, let the GM script know through a static variable that, okay, the monitor's been clicked, and use the pre-existing script in here. If we could somehow use that, then we wouldn't have to rewrite all this. And I think what we're going to do is we can modify this so it's an OR statement. So let's go right-click, create and we'll do C#, and we'll call this monitors. We click on our 3 monitors. We put the monitor script on it. We open it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to create new variables. We're going to create public static. That way the variable is accessible to the GM script. Well, the GM object is the CAMS script. So public static int, and we'll just call it active cam, and it starts off as 0. And now what we do is we add void on mouse down. It's outside of start, outside of update, and it is case sensitive, so OMD need to be capitalized. And we'll simply check for the 3 names that are being clicked on. So on mouse down is attached to scripts, and the if statement is going to say, okay, what's the name of the object that was just clicked on? So if game object dot name equals monitor 1, something's going to happen. So what happens? That new variable we just created, active cam plus, whoops, sorry, no, just equals. We don't want to, we're not doing addition or subtraction. Active cam equals 1. Copy, paste, same thing. Monitor 2, active cam equals 2. Monitor 3, active cam equals 3. So the script is attached to the monitors. You click on one of the monitors and the script says, okay, what's the name of the monitor you just clicked on? Change this variable to the corresponding value. And now, since it's a static variable, we can come over here to cams and we can modify these. So very often you'll use and. You can also do or. It's a double pipe, which is above the enter key. You hold shift and press the backslash. So you're saying if that key is pressed down, or monitors dot active cam equals 1. So if either of those conditions are true. So let's quickly test that. So only this one should work because this is monitor 1. So if I click on it, it should bring me to the first room. And sure enough, it did, because I believe blue is indeed the first room. So we're good to go. We just finish off this script, and that's about it for this lesson. So now the one thing that we don't have, well, actually we do have press 0 to come back to the office. We just don't have a on-screen version of that now. So far we still have just pressing 0 to get to the office. So maybe when we're looking through the other cameras, maybe we'll add a button that says back or something like that. So click, press 0 to get, oh, I know why. We need to fix that variable. So when you press 0, that variable needs to be reset. So in here, monitors dot active cam is equal equals 0. So that's the only problem when you have multiple ways of doing the same task. You have to make sure that they're in tandem. So let's do that again. So we'll run, we click. Yep, so that fixed it. Click on the second one. Okay, we didn't add the rotating script yet, that's fine. And then third one. Okay, wow, got a lot done there. So I think that's about it for now. A few more things we can add, like maybe having, I mentioned it before, adding like a manual filter or a grain to make it look more like a monitor, or at least stylized like a monitor. But that's about it for now.